think it's time that we go over every single season of this chapter, go through the best and worst part about every chapter, and figure out which one's the best. Before we start, this is a very subjective list, so if I throw hate on one of your favorite seasons, don't take it personally, because it's all my own thoughts. So I don't want to see people start flaming me in the comments section. Guys, this is all subjective, okay? Everyone's allowed to have opinions, and yeah, that's it. Alright, let's go. So let's go in order before we make our ranking list of the best and worst of every season, starting with the first season. I think the introduction to Season 1, and I think the gameplay in Season 1 was probably the most fair and simplest. And I mean, that's usually how it is with a lot of new chapters, new seasons. Usually things start simple, and then things get a little more wild as the chapter progresses. It was also our first introduction to the sprites, the boons, and all these new concepts. And honestly, it was fun. It was great. The one thing about that season that was very annoying is probably the sword. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought the sword was a lot of fun, but there's no counter to a sword unless you have a sword of your own. However, swords weren't very hard to find, so everybody was pretty much running with one. Really, the best way to counter a sword is to have one of your own, or just hope that you can take them out before they finish you with their sword. But yeah, that's the only bad thing about Season 1 in my opinion. Season 2 was the heist theme, which involved Fletcher Kane breaking into his vaults and defending it from all the other guards. I think the best thing about it was that the heist season of this chapter was a little bit different from the other ones because you actually had to destroy the vault doors and while you're at it, defend it from incoming guards. And also watch out for third parties, unfortunately, it's super easy to third party. And the fact that when you rob these things and you get some gold, you can go to like these underground black markets and buy like exotics or mythics and all this other stuff, which is really cool in my opinion. We've had a lot of heist seasons before, and I think just having another heist season just feels repetitive. And don't even get me started with that kneecapper. I don't know, that's even worse than the Typhoon Blade in my opinion. A lot worse. No cooldown to the knockback attack, and it's so stupid. I'm glad it's gone. Next, that thing that we're covering is arguably the worst season of the entire chapter, the Star Wars mini season. I think it's really hard for me to think of something good for the season. I think the good thing is that we finally have Emperor Palpatine in the game now. I think outfit-wise, besides one outfit in particular that we won't talk about, I think most of the outfits, and I think just the Battle Pass and General Grievous being here, I think just the outfits and cosmetics that we got made up for the rest of the season. But the worst thing about the Star Wars season was everything else, and I don't have to explain why, do I? Because if I did have to explain that, then I don't think you really understand just how troubling that season was. Alright, it's a good thing it only lasted a month. And then we kick things back to normal with Chapter 6 Season 3, the superhero season, with the Supernova Academy, and Daigo turning into a villain. It's so hard for me to think of something good, not because I didn't like the season, but because the season was just so much fun. In my opinion, it was a lot of fun. That I didn't really know what to think that was actually great about it. I mean, the Battle Pass was actually very solid. I loved the outfits. Besides Superman, that was the only thing I was disappointed in. Wish they could have did something else besides him. But other than that, I think the Battle Pass and everything else, all the other cosmetics they released, was pretty awesome. The only thing that I didn't like about Chapter 6 Season 3 was I guess you guys can probably guess it. Those cheerleader things that turn you into a storm beast. Yeah, those things are annoying. They're not good, I know that. They're annoying though, but they're not like crazy overpowered. I mean, they removed it at one point because there was like a weird bug and they brought it back, and when they did, it was pretty much nerfed. Its health was nerfed, and it was a little bit easier to take down, especially if you have multiple people with you. But that's the only bad thing of Chapter 6 Season 3. Honestly, if they just never brought that into the loophole, I think that would have just been the best season of the chapter. Even though it's not the worst one we've seen, it's nowhere near the best either. The bug season. Although I think the best thing about that was the fact that they added the Power Rangers and we got to run around as the fucking Megazord. That was some cool shit, and that was a lot of fun. So I gotta give credit to Fortnite for that. The Megazord was a fun idea. It was kind of similar to the Godzilla theme from Chapter 6 Season 1, but instead of just one of us being Godzilla, we were all getting the Megazord as a team, and I thought that was really awesome. So it is a little bit different. It's similar, but it's not exactly the same. Although I think the worst part about it was just the fact that the bugs were it just felt off going to like this bug invasion, and you know, all the queens were the same. I'm not saying the loot pool was bad, I think just the rest of the gameplay was bad. You know, the bugs, although they only hit you for like 1 HP, they're still annoying to put up with. Those bigger guys that make you eat up your bullets and run away every time you get close, and the queens are pretty much all the same, not to mention that they removed the medallions in the middle of the season because of, well, I guess haters, you can say, and never brought them back. I didn't hate the medallions. Yes, some of them were broken when you combined them all together, but you didn't have to take them all out. I mean, you nerfed them and people were still mad. Well, that's their problem, because you nerfed it. You did what they asked. And then you removed it entirely, and you wonder why people are hating on you now. Yeah, just the medallions being gone, the bugs were just annoying as hell, and don't even get me started on that revolver piece of shit. Oh my god, I am so glad that season's over. I have died to that thing countless times. And, you know, some of you might say, well, you didn't die to that, you died to a sentinel. Or, well, they're double pumping. They're double pumping, man. And look, I know some of you all sweats are gonna love that shit. To be honest, I thought it was pretty fun too, but it's actually so broken and so annoying when to fight against. Now, to keep that in OG, that would have been nice, because, you know, it's OG, right? We had that, but now they got rid of that in OG, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about this season. I'm just happy that revolver is gone. That thing was way too powerful for what it was. And to end it, we have the season we're in right now, the Simpsons season. I don't know what's best or what's worse about it. There's really nothing bad or good about this season. It's okay. It's a good season, you know? It's not bad. I like it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's good. I think the loot pool is pretty solid besides the shotguns. I think they could have just added the regular pump rather than the thunder. I don't understand why the thunder is there, but it is. I think, yeah, I can agree that the map's a little bit small, but there's not a whole lot of mobility anyway, and it kind of makes up for having such a small map. Although I think the worst part about it is, of course, how sweaty it is, because it's such a solid season that everybody's playing now, and there's so many sweats. You easily get third-partied, you know, because the map is so small, and I think that's why a lot of people don't really like the seasons, because the map is small, and that leads to a lot of third-partying, and because of all this OG quote-unquote loot, some of those older players are getting back on, and oh boy, is it sweating. But other than the sweats, I think the season's fine. All that out of the way, it's time to figure out which season was actually the best and which one was the worst. And I'm gonna do the opposite. Most people like to start from the back, but I'm gonna start from the top and talk about my personal favorite season and go all the way down to the end. So let's begin. I did not mean to ready up. It took me a minute between two different seasons to figure out which one I liked the most, but in the end, I decided to go with Chapter 6, Season 1. It was the simplest season, and you know, there wasn't anything broken besides the Typhoon Blade. That was the only item that was overpowered, but it wasn't hard to find, and the only way you can counter that is to get one of your own. But again, you can find that easily. And Chapter 6 Season 1 also introduced us to the sprites, the boons, you know, all these new things, and oh my god, it was a beautiful map. I loved the first season. It was great. I don't think any other season in this chapter would top that. That was my favorite one. There were plenty of bosses to fight for free boons and free weapons, and you know, it was just, oh my god, the Void Mask was a lot of fun. I don't know what else to say about it. It was a great season in my opinion. The second spot, I'm gonna put Chapter 6, Season 3, the superhero season. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Yes, there were some things that were annoying, but I mean, every season's gonna have something annoying in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always gonna be something stupid, something broken. The only thing that was annoying in Chapter 6, though, was in my opinion, those Beast cheerleader pom-pom things. And from a majority of the season, that was vaulted, which made the season actually fun, because we didn't have to worry about that. But then they brought it back, and even though it wasn't as good when they brought it back, it was still annoying to put up with. You would eat up a ton of your bullets, and yeah, it was a nightmare. Number 3 on the list, I'm actually gonna put it as this season, The Simpsons, right now. It's actually very solid. There's nothing great, but there's nothing bad about it either. The only thing that's really bad is that the map being small, so which leads to, you know, a bunch of third parties, not to mention how sweaty it is right now. Probably one of the sweatiest seasons of all time. But can I blame them? No. This season is beautiful. I mean, there's nothing great, and there's nothing terrible either. The only thing that's good is that exotic revolver, but unlike the swords from Chapter 6 Season 1, the beast pom-poms from Chapter 6 Season 3, and all these other things from the other seasons, there's only one exotic revolver. So only one person's gonna have it. So there's only one person you gotta worry about who's carrying one, and once you take him out, you'll have that overpowered item, if you choose to pick it up. So overall, I think The Simpsons was pretty solid, but there wasn't really anything super exciting about it either, though, and which is kind of why I didn't really enjoy this as much as I enjoyed the other two that I've already mentioned. Okay, fair warning, this is where things start to die down a little bit, beginning with the heist season. Again, I think the heist season was fun, you know, defending the vaults from the bad guys, but because it takes so long, it's rough when you get third-partied, whether it's during the heist or after the heist. And oh my god, that kneecapper was even worse than the sword. Like, if you played during Chapter 6 Season 1 and you thought that Typhoon Blade was bad, you have not played the season afterwards with that kneecapper. Or maybe you have and you didn't think it was as good. It is a lot worse. Some people say it's like a nerfed version of Typhoon Blade. It does less damage, yes, but there's no cooldown for the knockback, and that's the worst part about it. That's what makes it so much more annoying compared to the sword. But other than that kneecapper, and of course, you know, the third parties from all the breaking open all the heists, I think the season was great. Now we're down to the last two, and for the fifth one, I'm gonna have to go with the bug season. It's not like it was the worst season we've ever had, but it wasn't the most fun either. It was a struggle. The only thing good about that season was the fact that we had the biggest Fortnite Mares collab ever. That was, I think, actually, yeah, now that I think about it, that was probably the best thing of Chapter 6 Season 4, was the Fortnite Mares collab where we had all these different outfits. But at that point, the Chapter 6 Season 4 theme already ended, because the bugs were already gone. So I guess you can say that doesn't really count. And therefore, that doesn't make Chapter 6 Season 4 that great. I really wasn't having that much fun. I'm sorry to break it to you, Chapter 6 Season 4 fans, but the season was just, it's just not the best. And you guys already know what the last one is. It's the Star Wars season. I don't have to explain this one, do I? Okay, fine. I will, because you guys probably, maybe for somebody who hasn't played it, is probably like, well, what was so bad about it? Okay, well, first of all, the entire loot pool was filled around having Star Wars blasters. Unlike all these other Star Wars events we had, where there were like mythic blasters with infinite ammo, but there were still the main guns with ammo and stuff, and it wasn't very easy to find the blasters. Now there are blasters everywhere. There's no ammo needed. All the ammo boxes have been vaulted for the first time, and it was all just blasters, lightsabers, whatever. So that means the second you get a gun out of a chest, you have infinite ammo. You can't lose. And I think that's why people hated the season so much. There's unlimited ammo, no matter what. And I can agree with that. That sucks. It's rough. When everyone has unlimited ammo. It's ridiculous. And the lightsabers, they suck. They're not a good, they're not even good. It's not even worth picking up a lightsaber unless you want to get the Force abilities. That's the only reason you grab a lightsaber. You don't just pick a lightsaber off of somebody's body. You go to the holograms of these characters to get Force abilities. And that's the only good thing about getting the lightsaber. And the only thing good about the Star Wars season period, honestly. I shouldn't have to explain anymore. That should be enough. And that's it. We've reached the end. Um, Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let me know what season was your favorite. So on that note, have a good night, guys.